with a complete sense of impunity, with complete disregard to our concern for the state and the institutions and bodies that belong to the state, belong to the people of the state. I would like to remind ourselves of the similar special motion which was tabled here, with your permission, in the preceding year, in respect of Subhagya scheme. What happened? The original sanction amount, based on the schedule of rates, which was revised then, which was for different packages, first package 173.6 crore and second package 179 crore. Both the packages awarded at alarmingly high rate, more than 50% above. Now, 173.60 crore comes to 270 crore. 179 crore comes to 284.6 crore. And I'm told that they're still continuing to revise it to increase this expenditure within the scope of similar works, with few manipulation like they have done for Danol hydroelectricity power project. These are amazing instances of corruption. Now one may say, okay, how do I say that, okay, Subhagya, there was a predetermined motive to really cause injury to MECL at the cost of the state exchequer? I have the evidence here. Now, I have not seen in my course of innings, while I had the privilege to be in the government, whether as a minister or as a deputy CM or even as a CM, nor have I allowed anybody to do so. The courage to lie, even before the court, even before the judiciary. It's amazing. I have not seen any politician or any officer having that courage. And they still think that they can go scot-free. No, they cannot. You will be surprised to see how in the court, the MECL, as a petition to defend, when the aggrieved party filed a petition before the Honorable Court, alleging predetermined manipulation to award the contract to predetermined selected bidder. Match fixing, well scripted. You know, you need brilliant people to do so. I remember I was talking to one lady. She gave me a call I received. She was virtually crying over the phone. I asked her, what happened? She said, sir, my 2 lakh rupees which I deposited in the bank after selling my plot of land to my brother-in-law, and he deposited in my bank account, has disappeared. I tried to know what happened. I told her to go to the police, go to the bank, send some people to the bank and talk to the bank manager, find out what is happening. Then I spoke to one lady who is dealing with security system to be provided to the government, to the bank, to financial institutions, with some multinational company who have somehow developed that art of really protecting the whole security system against various cyber crimes. Then I was told, you know, there are quite a number of highly intellectual, highly educated in technology who have come together and opened office in some of the areas, some of the states in the country. Some are in Jharkhand, some are in Bihar. In fact, I was told about the name of the places also. One can go and see. That is what she was telling me. How they try to cheat our people who have money in the bank. That's why I don't use credit card myself. I'm really scared, because one day when over the dining table, when we were together with my wife and my daughter, suddenly she saw an SMS. Thank you for purchasing blah, blah, blah from US. That's a complete hacking from the credit card. Anyway, she managed to get it back from the State Bank of India. So this is what is happening. You have too many people who are available if we want to utilize those criminals. If we want to utilize those people from outside who can come and script amazing modus operandi to be adopted to milk the state. In response to that petition of the aggrieved party whose tender was disqualified, the MECL pleaded before the Honorable High Court, and High Court stayed the whole proceeding of the tendering process. But subsequently, what has happened? Amazing. Subsequently, MECL, the respondent, filed a petition saying that an application on behalf of the applicants, respondents, praying for permission of this Honorable Court to recall the cancelled tender, because before the court, the MECL, having known fully well that they will be caught red-handed and they will not be able to defend, good sense prevailed. There was a decision in MECL to really cancel the tender number MEPDCL/CE within bracket D Slovakia 2018-19 TKC/4 dated 26/9/2018. To cancel the tender. Subsequently, what happened? They didn't have to cancel the tender because the petitioner ultimately withdrew suddenly. This is the modus operandi, Mr. Speaker, sir, which I am referring to. They have been able to say that, okay, the petitioner has withdrawn, so go ahead with the allotment. Now what happened? There was a turmoil in MECL. Senior officers were scared because they will be caught one day. They can't go scot-free. This government may defend them now, but they will not be able to defend. This chair is not permanent. What happened then? The CMD was transferred immediately. And another officer was put as a CMD to execute that scripted modus operandi. And that is how the whole process of looting is going on in MECL. Now look at another way. Very interesting. So many ways have been scripted. I only know how criminal mind works. Because unless we know how criminals work, you cannot defend. Unless we know how the thief can enter, we don't know how to put the security system. That's why I have learned how the criminals operate, how these kind of script writers operate, to adopt modus operandi, to milk the state, loot the state. These outsiders, one that Satnam, and there were two contractors. Another one was, again there was a match fixing, who never had any background, another party in western part, in Garwels, awarded. At that rate I have referred to. What has happened subsequently? Very happily he has withdrawn the work. And very happily MECL has awarded the work to the same company called Satnam. He is available in the corridors of your Meghalaya Secretariat. He is the most frequented man in the Meghalaya Secretariat. Very respected man because he gives directions to the officers also in front of the minister. That is what I have been told, and some people have provided me those informations. Now, we have worked so hard to ensure that the various externally aided projects come to the state, take years together to get their approval, ADB. You know what we did? We invested 5 crore initially to start the smart metering, to tell how we should be actually enabling people to get the billing and how we can also adopt technology to really make MECL efficient enough, because MECL is so crucial. It's the fuel that gives that whole energy for the state for its growth and prosperity. Now, what has happened? These ATB programs where this tendering has been given, very interesting to see this particular these are the proceedings that will be captured, therefore it is very important, Mr. Speaker. Now, whenever there is a tender, obviously because it's an e-tendering process, many of these renowned companies come, participate. Oh, there's a beautiful program as an offshoot of long-run effort by both the state governments and Government of India and the various financial institutions who provide support under EAPs, externally aided projects. Same tender in this e-tendering, lots of renowned companies have participated. But very interesting when we see most of the companies who have been rejected technically in one group, but the same group is again qualified in another group. Have they submitted different papers in their bidding document? Are they so novice? Now, who are those companies? Big companies, including Tata Projects also. So many big companies. But they were also all technically rejected. How much of discussion, negotiation, and match fixing must have happened? You know why I'm saying this is because you look at the rate at which the work has been shows at the financial bidding. In the first one, for the package 1, which was 84 crore, the lowest, that is L1, is 104.84 crore, 24% above. For the same work and similar nature, that in another group, it is 31.78% below. That means a gap of huge 56 crore, 56%. In one tender, it is above. Same time, different package, it is below. Now there is a process of so-called price determination before an award is given. During the process of tendering. Why? Because we want to protect the interests of the state, so that you don't allow the precious resources of the government to be looted by anybody. Now you look at how was the price determination agreed to when in one group there is a tender which is below 37.78, that is in West Khas Hills. And in the district of East Khas Hills, it is 24.8%, which is the more difficult area to work. East Khas Hills or West Khas Hills? Similar in East Garo Hills and West Garo Hills. Above in West Garo Hills, below in East Garo Hills. Where is the price determination? If somebody has quoted 31.78% below the total tender value, the MECL should have gone for further price determination. This was not done. The result is award of contract as per this manipulated bidding, and to ensure that what they have done, as I have said, they have in the technical bid happily made people to not contest, because even if other bidders don't contest, then it's end. They will say the other bidders, they were technically rejected, but they have decided not to protest because of the match fixing. Now, how this match fixing is done, obviously, how this modus operandi was scripted, how will you find out? How will you find out? Because the government will defend. They will defend tooth and nail. How many crores we are talking about? And what is going to happen in the long run? ADB will one day tell that in your state so many irregularities have happened. Meghalaya is not eligible anymore further for externally aided projects. We are going to destroy the future opportunities for the state because of the greed of few at the cost of the state. Is it not the responsibility of each one of us then to ensure that we protect the interests of the state? That's why in the text of the motion, we have said, which sum up everything is to indicate that the government has failed to protect the interests of the state. Interests of the state must supersede everything else. I've gone through a number of judgments of different honorable courts, including High Court and including Honorable Supreme Court, in respect of this kind of irregularities, where officers were ultimately convicted for failing to protect the interests of the state, even in absence of any evidence to indicate that there was a quid pro quo. Even in the absence of being able to prove in the court, during the proceeding, absence of any malafide intention. Now what is going to happen? All these innocent officers who are victim of this well-scripted modus operandi involving various, criminal mind, what is going to happen to their children, their family, in the days, in the years ahead? Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, is it not the responsibility of each one of us to put an end to this? We cannot put an end because they have the government of the day, whoever must have directed, has created a very unhealthy, unconstitutional precedence. And that precedence is forcing organization of the government to file an affidavit and file a petition before the honorable court, before the judiciary, which is completely false, which can be proven in the court of law. People say law has its long hand. Now, these are all too many points. I am only giving the tip of the iceberg. Too many. And what happened to that smartphone? A smart meter? One. No contest. Who is the beneficiary? We have to find out. The government has to tell. Because if I say, then they will say, I have already replied. So this is the scripted modus operandi, which is creating a very unhealthy precedence, which is destroying the state. Now, where is this money going to come from to pay this escalated amount? Where is this money going to come from? ADB, what is the proportion? The central share and state share? Do you have money? During our time after 2014, the normal funding pattern under EAP, which was 90:10, was changed. It was made to 50-50. We took up with the government of India. Because as northeastern states with scarce resources, with limited source of revenue, it will not be possible for the states to proceed further to avail all those benefit of the programs which are under the externally aided project by various financial institutions, be it World Bank, be it Asian Development Bank, be it Japanese International Corporation Agency. How many projects are in the pipeline? Thousands of crores. Have we worked so hard to create a pipeline to have these programs to satisfy the greed of few at the cost of the state? Now, what is the proportion in respect of the funding pattern? After we took up, Government of India was very smart in saying that, okay, 25 is to 75% agreed, but the rest, 75 also 15% still states should bear. So you calculate 25% plus 15%, how much it comes. State has to give the matching state share. For all this extra money, which has been channelized to benefit these companies who have been smart enough in scripting this whole modus operandi to rob our beautiful state of Meghalaya, to rob the resources of our state, this beautiful state which we love so much. I left my job because I knew it's no point blaming others for not doing anything. So let me take care of the responsibility to take care of the agonies of the people and address them by being part of this democratic system. Now, when these are being dismantled with complete sense of impunity, it really pains. It really pains. And I'm the architect of number of power projects in facilitating the sanction and clearances. The MECL had ambitious program to tap all our available resources to generate power so that entity is self-reliant, so that state can grow and prosper, because energy is crucial, power sector is crucial. And therefore unbundling took place. We were part of this whole system. And what is the ultimate responsibility of the government? To complete the process of unbundling. Whatever we have done till the time, till 2014, subsequently, this unbundling process and the associated complication, how is it going to be handled by the MECL, this important organization, when every time when they find that one officer is resisting, they keep on transferring. Now, who transfers? I say that after the petition was filed before the Honorable High Court to recall the tender, and when the officer concerned, after pressure, did not agree not to recall, but to proceed further with the tender, cancellation of tendering, the CMD was transferred. Senior officer. Who transferred that officer? Power Minister? No. Chief Minister. Chief Minister. I found it very interesting when there were lots of halla gulla, even in the ruling, blaming only the Power Minister, Home Minister. You look at number of transfers. Transfers after transfer, I have said this, I have made this submission in this August House. DCs are transferred, ASPs are transferred. Transferring of senior police officers are governed by law, the Meghalaya Police Act, which we have taken pain to pass, in order to ensure that the Meghalaya Police actually remains capable of insulating itself from all criminal tendency of all influenced by any extraneous forces. Whether it is to influence the course of a case, whether it is in the process of influencing the police to somehow be silent spectators and allow illegalities to happen, which is happening now, and to regulate this, the check and balance. How many times have the government held the State Security Commission meeting? The leader of the opposition is also a member. During my time, we passed this act. Because police is also a part and parcel, inherent part of the administration of justice. It's not only for dealing with law and order problem, administration of justice. Now investigation, charge sitting, and then lack of it, what happens? Criminals get emboldened because the law is found as toothless because of delay in investigation, because of delay in judiciary, because of the delay in charge sitting and subsequent process of law by the judiciary. That's the reason why the states were met, respondents, to comply with the requirement of completing the whole process of administrative reforms. Now, these administrative reforms also include separation of judiciary from executive, and we were the fastest amongst the states in completing the separation. Everywhere you see construction of judicial building happening. Now what has happened now? What is happening to this police? I am very disturbed. We don't do any witch hunting. During our time in 2018, there was many instances of cases. We wanted the police. Prior to that, many instances of cases, we wanted the police not to be disturbed, SPs not to be disturbed. And selection of the DGP through a due process inconsistent with the Meghalaya Police Act, which is also again an offshoot of the Honorable Supreme Court's monitoring administrative reforms, which was adopted by all the states in the country, not just Meghalaya. This whole thing has been trampled upon. I know there are many smart people across the globe, not just, we don't talk only about our country, but I have referred to some of the smart people who are using their brilliance, knowledge in technology for criminal activities. Similar thing is happening all over the world. You know, some of the people who have come together to extort people by pretending to be law enforcing officers. One very important news thing which was available in national media was about the Internal Revenue Services of the United States of America. Now this modus operandi, people disguise themselves as officers of Internal Revenue Services and go after all those people against whom they have all the compilation of irregularities in tax payment, and they're threatened. Either you have this irregularity, they make a call. It's a bulk SMS call which is provided. It will go to the targeted citizens of United States, mostly NRIs. I went through this whole script in the past, how this is being done. When in Meghalaya, similar case was detected. What has happened to that case? During our time, we wanted to ensure that, okay, we aren't seen in doing witch hunting, because I'm referring to a case, a very high profile case, where some of our youth who were supported by a government scheme and trained outside in the name of skill development program were trained to have the whole tax to act like IRS officers and to engage in call center to send the bulk messages. This case was unearthed in a number of the places across the globe. Similar thing also unfortunately happened in Meghalaya. The case number Laitumukra PS, case number 134/2017, registered on 28th of August 2017. We are talking about unearthing the truth and discouraging criminals by ensuring that the administration of justice is not perturbed and defiled by anybody, so that administration of justice comes as a deterrence for all of us, all the people who have the tendency to engage in criminality. Now, what has happened? When I followed this case, without pointing finger at anybody, suddenly something alarming has happened, transferring of the police officers. And it is so amazing that the SP concerned, in fact, indicated that this officer is engaged in investigating a very high-profile case. And I'm referring to that case that I have indicated, that Laimukra. And you know what happened? The officer concerned IO was transferred, in spite of the fact that that IO actually had an ailing father who was suffering from cancer, and he is the only son, and also had a bereavement in the family where he lost his dear mother. This is how we deal with officers, by trying to influence the process of investigation And this is exactly what is happening all across. Now come to the allegations of illegal mining and illegal transportation of coal. With this, I will ask the House to see whether it is necessary for us to take a call to protect the interests of our state or not. Now, what is the reality? We all know the reality. The people in the coal mine area, people along National Highway, they all know what is happening. Everybody knows. In fact, number of representations after representation by various organizations. I just saw a copy of many of these representations submitted to senior officers, including Chief Secretary, where allegations are there in written that so much of money is being spent to transport. Somewhere they say 80 to 100. And after that, again when they cross the border, sometimes when they can't cross the border, they have to dump their coal somewhere in border along Assam-Meghalaya border. And somebody sent me all the photographs which are available in my mobile. All. Geotypes. What is happening every day? Now, who will verify it? Is it the responsibility of common man or an MLA, or it's the responsibility of the government in view of the fact that the role of the government is to protect the interests of the state? Who will protect the interests of the state? When government wants to vehemently stonewall this whole process of investigation. So, until this government remains, state will continue to be robbed on a daily basis, on hourly basis. Now one may say, what is the proof? Because I heard during the press interaction and all, let them come with a proof. Proof everywhere. If you want proof, it will be more unpleasant. More unpleasant. But it's more pleasant when the government acts upon it, because government is vested with that, not just power, but the responsibility. Now, recently I have gone to Jaintia Hills, based on a representation which was submitted as a copy to me by one of the civil society activists. As per the RTI availed by him, as per the information availed by him through RTI, in the month of June, 141,000 metric ton of coal was reported to have been detected after the assessment order by the divisional mining officer in response to the order given by the DC, which was in response to an FIR filed by one of the residents of that. As per the call of duty, I wanted the DC and the DMO to verify every lot. Every lot, that means scattered in truckloads, were dumped in around 5, 6 big booths. One truck like that. It took a long time for us to count. DC and the DMO were counting. Media became restless. They said, sir, we have to go. We are national media. I said, have some patience. After counting, I told DC, you give me in writing. What is the total number of the vehicles, truckloads? 1,064 truckloads in different lots, 1,064. Calculate at somewhere it is smaller lot, somewhere it is bigger, 12 metric ton. I asked some of the people who are quite acquainted in assessing. I asked the DM also, what is the likely this thing, because you always do volumetric. So it'll be around between 12 to 16 metric ton per truck. Multiply it by 1,064. What is the balance? Where have all 1,41,000 metric ton gone? Is it not the responsibility of the government to find out? Have anybody transported it illegally without paying the royalty? Is it not the responsibility of the opposition to really protect the interests of the state? Is it not the responsibility of the members of this August House and the people at large to protect the interests of the state if this is what is happening? Now, we talk about 32 lakh metric ton. I was watching the proceeding from the room of the LO. replies to coal mining activity. CM himself was replying. What is the reality? You look at affidavit filed before the Honorable NGT, subsequently to the Honorable Supreme Court. By the time when NGT ban came, the ban on illegal mining and their transportation by Honorable NGT, the miners were given an opportunity to indicate as to how many miners have their coal deposit, so that we will know how to allow them for transportation with the permission of the Honorable NGT. This exercise was directed, therefore, by the Honorable NGT. And when people compiled and indicated their lump sum quantity, it was huge. It was very huge, rather. Then, what is the process of law? The process of law needed the authorities to go and determine, and that was the direction given by the Honorable NGT as well, which was expected as per the legal requirement. So initially, the whole compilation was around 1.2 crore. Subsequently, some people became more adventurous and then probably indicated, oh, I have also. So it became 136 lakh, 37,707. Now, as required by the law, it has to be assessed. Officers went to the nook and corner of all the coal-bearing districts and gave an assessment report, which came to 65,81,147 metric ton. That was the total figure which was submitted before the Honorable NGT. And government pleaded in support of the coal miners, please allow them to transport. Honorable NGT came up with the whole guidelines, how it should be transported, how measurement must be done, how the royalty should be taken, and various other says, and ensure that all the extracted coal are kept in conformity with the guidelines given again by NGT in line with the environmental requirement. Now, what has happened? This was allowed to be transported within a stipulated time, and miners always could not complete the whole process. They came up with an appeal before the Honorable NGT. Now, what has happened? After that, subsequently, it was Honorable Supreme Court who, because NGT said that no more extension of time, miners went and sought the intervention of the Honorable Supreme Court. Now here, ultimately, government had to file affidavit indicating how much of the balance coal is available in the coal-bearing districts after the transportation was allowed. Now, unfortunately, what has happened is that though the total transportation which was allowed by Honorable NGT automatically should result in declining order in terms of the quantity of the coal, subsequently in 2017, it has come to just over 1 lakh. This was supported by the same government, the incumbent government, through its affidavit before the Honorable Supreme Court, indicating that the total quantity of coal is 1,76,655 metric ton, as per the report that was made available, latest by 31st of May 2018, during this incumbent government's time. Now, how that 32 lakh has come is a different question. The government submitted inventory before the Honorable Supreme Court that there are 32 lakh metric ton of coal across different coal-bearing districts. And therefore, Honorable Supreme Court said, yes, auction it. I will be winding up with this.
Okay, thank you.
It's more like a charge sheeting, so it's not so easy also. So now, this 32 lakh metric ton, it's the inventory of the government. Now the question is that the Honorable Supreme Court has given directive that this should be auctioned by the CIL under the supervision of the NGT committee, and the proceeds should be given to the owners of the coal based on the inventory after deducting various costs, including 10% to the Coal India Limited as an administrative charges for auctioning. Now, why is the delay? Now, delay, if we go through the proceeding of the NGT committee, we see that there is a culmination of various proposals which was not inconsistent with the Honorable Supreme Court judgment and order. Therefore, the Honorable NGT committee appointed by the Honorable Principal NGT disagreed that it's not inconsistent with the judgment of the Honorable Supreme Court, because there was also another scripted modus operandi being attempted, and that 32 lakh metric ton. Today, I was told by all the friends from different districts that that 32 lakh metric ton doesn't exist. What has happened? Government has, that means, closed its eyes, allowed lifting of these 32 lakh metric tons. And the result is that there is less coal in those coal-bearing areas, which is contrary to the exact figure which should have been there now as per the inventory submitted. Is it not necessary, therefore, to find out the truth? Is it an allegation just for the sake of allegation and blaming the government? No, it is not. It is not. It is necessary, therefore, complete the whole auctioning of this coal at one go. Why are you delaying? Now, after the Justice Kataki, who was the chairman of the NGT committee appointed by the Honorable NGT, resigned, then the whole proceeding again was dovetailed as what the government wanted. What is the result? The result is that the principal, meaning the Honorable NGT, the principal body, rejected this proposal for the delay. And during the process, what is happening is there what is being seen by people across the state. Therefore, you will end up seeing that these 32 lakh metric ton will not be there when the actual auctioning takes place. And there is one of the modus operandi, that delaying of complete auctioning. That's why they are having a breakup, 75,000 somewhere, 50,000 somewhere. These are not blind allegations, but these are because of the evil intent, what is scripted in the whole modus operandi of the government. Now, therefore, it is necessary for all of us to protect the state. How much time we want to give to this government who is robbing the state? How much time? I have seen when there are criminalities and illegalities across the world, the countries who have allowed it have crippled economy. Unemployment problem, unrest. It's happening. You look at even what is happening in Latin America and many of the countries. Are we going to create that environment? Job is gone. How many employment opportunities have been created? Even the vacancies in the police, whatever is there is not filled up through recruitment. Where is the job going to come? These vacancies are being filled up by transferring all those cadres who are part of the SF-10, which was raised to really have a special battalion which is insulated from other pulls and pressures of policing and be capable of dealing with the challenges that may confront the state from time to time, and that is how we neutralize militancy, terrorism. Today, I'm happy to hear the MLA from Gambhagri, honorable member, referring to the better situation. Yes, better situation. I don't have to move with Z+ security now. Government has been very pleased to immediately revise it. Yes, I travel alone nowadays sometimes. Earlier also I used to travel. I am a night rider, even while militancies were there. When there were lots of attempts to ambush, nothing happened. God has always protected me. I am insulated by the blood of Jesus. I would like to also insulate this state of ours from all these criminalities. Things are not good, Mr. Speaker, sir. Last year, In my Songsa constituency, 2 boys with AKs, police, because people informed, police could catch them. Similar thing. In Asakri, in South Garo Hills last year, I spoke to the police. I spoke to the senior officers. This is what is happening because I get the inputs before others, even while I was here. I used to get inputs even before my police officers, and that is the kind of network that I have. So I know what is happening. People with gun were spotted moving in Southwest Khasi Hills, also in West Khasi Hills. The person who have always enabled our frustrated youth to form militant outfits and insurgent outfits are still at large. How many times Drishti Rajkhawa from Ulfa was detected in different parts of Meghalaya? And today, in spite of knowing this, or maybe they don't know, because they may not be even reading the inputs coming from the police in DSI, or maybe the DSI report may be so blank, they may not be getting the inputs from the ground zero. Because police have been transferred left and right, here and there, DCs are transferred left and right. They want people who should close their eyes and be blind to what is happening and not stop this whole scripted modus operandi of robbing the state. Now, I leave it to this August House, to all my distinguished honorable members of this August House. Why are we here? Why are we here? I know it's very unpleasant, but state is being looted. You want more proof? I can give more proof. It'll be, as I've said, it'll be more unpleasant. But I would like to submit through you, Mr. Speaker, sir, to stop all these illegalities at the same time. Don't create a precedence where people will think that, okay, to loot the state, one has to become a politician. I'm afraid now, as a leader of a party, as a CLP leader next time, how many people will ask for party tickets who might have the same intention of looting the state, becoming dangerous for politicians? I am going to be really, really looking at that kind of unpleasant situation in the years ahead. Officers will be thinking, okay, if I'm posted there and here, I'll be able to loot as an agent of those greedy politicians. There'll be a nexus between the officers and the politicians. We will have a vitiated environment in the state which will not be really, really the kind of state which we want to leave behind for our children and our grandchildren. We need to look at our families, our children, our grandchildren, and generation next. Yes, we love them. We will all go empty-handed. We don't need so much of money. Yes, we don't need so much of money. Let this greed stop forthwith. I am telling what I am telling, and what I am telling is the truth. Everybody knows. We are wearing, today I have worn suit because I have trimmed my hair. But why do we wear better clothes? Why do we buy better car? Why do we build better house? We want to be able to live with our head held high, with pride and dignity. And there's a kind of pride and dignity we want to leave behind for our generation next. They will speak, oh yeah, my father, my great-grandfather were architects of this beautiful state and left behind this wonderful state. But if it is the opposite, I'm sorry. We must correct it. I therefore appeal to all the members of this August House to invoke a process of thinking and self-realization through you, Mr. Speaker. This government has to go. There's a new government needed because this government will stonewall. This government will definitely defend now. Talk about other things. We know how to defend. We all know, but the truth is truth. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, through you, I once again urge all the members of this August House. I know a whip has been issued by MDA, but this whip doesn't work. You know, only political party can issue whip to their respective members. So nobody will be disqualified. This is the time to say, okay, if I want to save the state, everybody knows. All the 60 members know what is happening. Not only me. Yes, I heard the member from Rongara Siju, honorable member from Rongara Siju, my younger brother. What he says there and what he says here, completely different. You know, that's the truth. Completely different. All other friends who have spoken here, same actually. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, it's time to protect the interests of our state. There is no other responsibility and duty that is vested upon us except to protect the interests of the state. People have had faith on us. They have given us mandate. We have been elected by them. Let us do justice to their mandate. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm sorry, I could see you looking at adjusting the time because many members have spoken. And in fact, I had requested many of our members from the opposition not to speak. I have to apologize to all of them subsequently after the House is adjourned. But I hope they will bear with me. But the bottom line is, I think we are with the same intention to serve this state, protect this state. With these few words, once again, I appeal to all the honorable members of this August House to support this motion, expressing want of confidence in the Council of Ministers led by Sri Conrad Kesa. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
So since there's no more members to participate, and I would like to know the mind of the Chief Minister, whether you are in a position to go straight away to...
Sir, if I may be allowed to use the washroom once, sir.
And we have to adjourn the House?
No, sir. I'll just come
minutes?
back, sir. I'll just use this door with your permission to
Yeah.
quickly go to my room, and I'll be back in 2 minutes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I have to adjourn the House, I think. So this House stands adjourned for 10 minutes.
Thank you.
Till the bell rings. Huh?
Ilang figa to gawat rin ang nagais.
Ang ano? Okay.
Slang words.
No, strong
Slang words.